I grew up in a very loving family, always going to church to do the church things, very, very involved with things like that. We would talk about church things, but never anything much deeper than that. Prayed before meals, but it was, memorized prayer. But yes, was baptized when I was an infant, as I thought everybody was. I didn't really realize there was any other option until I became an adult, and then I even questioned it then, I guess. So when I went away to college, I did want to go to a Christian college or church college. That was my choice. I didn't feel like I fit in with that crowd, that church crowd. It was more about appearances and who your family was and things like that, and I didn't quite fit in. So I started fitting in with the crowd that was not going to church. I feel like my faith just got shoved way to the back burner and thought, well, I can catch up with that maybe later in my life. Got married and then started having kids. That was probably when it really started, was when we had our first son. I felt like he's gonna be asking questions. I need to know what this is all about. I need to know what I believe, number one, and why I believe it. Then actually got invited to a Bible study that was truly a Bible study. And it just sparked a lot of things in my mind that I actually had not even heard of a lot of those things prior, because I had just studied it as Bible stories and never anything applicable to life, really. I'd been trying to talk to people, pray about it, look for any resources. I was searching, and I went to this conference, and the whole conference was gospel-oriented. And the second evening, they had, just at the end of the service, a time that you could just, if your heart was heavy, that you could come forward. And I just felt like, Jesus died for me. It just became real. And I was a sinner, and I needed him. And it felt like a boulder had been lifted off my back that I didn't even know I had on there. And I remember just leaving and just feeling like I was walking on a cloud. I was just euphoric, and I wanted to talk to people about it. And then I became more passionate about doing more things in our church. I'd been very involved in our church anyway, but now I was more passionate about doing things that I felt like more biblical and gospel-oriented, gospel-centered. But then talking with some friends a few years ago from the Bible study I went to previously, and they said, maybe, they're just not preaching the gospel. Maybe you need to look elsewhere. It was like a light went off, and I'm like, yeah, they aren't. And belonging, to a church for 25 years, being very involved, had great experiences, great friends, but knowing really what the church believed, felt like we needed to look elsewhere. And we started coming here in June. Kind of thought that we would keep looking around at other churches, but pretty much every Sunday our car just kind of drove here. It was a message that we had not heard. I feel like we've heard bits and pieces of the gospel here and there, but never the way it has been presented at Grace. With some conviction, but hope. Really started exploring baptism and what the Bible said about it. Started to meet people that actually were older when they were baptized and immersed. I guess I feel like it's something that I should choose, not my parents for me. Like it's just part of my faith journey, and that I need to do it. The Bible commands it. I feel like I want to make that statement.
Anyone who is in Christ is a new creation. The old is gone. Behold, all things have been made new. The Apostle Paul says this in 2 Corinthians chapter 5, verse 21. She has entered into a relationship with Christ, and Christ's death for sin is her death. So her old self is being buried with Christ, and as she comes up out of the waters of baptism, it signifies her union with Christ. It's not just simply that Christ has atoned for her sins and washed her sins away. It's also that she is, by virtue of her faith and what Christ has done, one with him.
Mom, Louise, I baptize you in the name of the Father, Son, and Holy Spirit.
Proverbs 3:5-6. Trust in the Lord with all your heart. Lean not on your own understanding. In all your ways, acknowledge him. He will direct your paths. That was kind of my go-to verse last summer, because I don't want to trust God. I want to trust myself. I am learning that it's not all about me. That to be a Christian, you're going to struggle. I mean, life, you're going to struggle. And to rely not on me, but to rely on God.